Hello everybody, this is Purge, bringing you guys a replay coaching. This is for the Lena player, The Liquor. I'm sure he's having a great time right now. Current MMR is 3,380, and things to focus on. I've been mainly playing as position 4 this season, but you feel like you're getting views between the role as position 4 and 5. Started playing as position 5, so your hero pool is made of mostly hard support heroes. Would you put some extra attention on how I take on fights? I think your role from mid to late game feels really weak. Cheers. And this was a 3 stack. You felt the stronger early game, but didn't do much in fights. Okay, so I can definitely relate to your concerns about not knowing what position 4 heroes to pick because you typically play position 5. That happens to me a lot as well, where I feel like I just want to have some like comfort lane win hero. But what's generally important, I mean, there's a couple different ways that you can take it, right? You can pick at a position 4 that is going to stomp the lane like a lane win hero. And a lot of position 5s function in that way because they are fairly hardy, they're strong, they can fight, they can deal damage. They just don't necessarily transition and offer as much in team fights later. Lena kind of covers both bases, but it's a little bit harder because you have to land Light Striker ways. But it kind of depends on the hero. For Lena, for example, if I'm playing position 4, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my best to crush my enemy carrion lane. If somebody leaves a lane, I'm going to push it using Arcane Boots, so that because you can push really fast with Dragon Slave levels, and by pushing out lanes, that's going to allow you to pressure enemy heroes. And then obviously you'll buy like a Yule Scepter, probably is your main item that you're going to buy. You could go like Aether Lens instead if you'd rather just do longer range catches. Something like an Atos hypothetically could work, but probably like Yule's and Force Staff is easier. And then what you're going to do is probably set up ganks with an ally because you basically have good kill potential, right? So if you use a smoke, you can do a Yule setup into Light Striker away combo. And if anybody else is there, you can probably kill most of these heroes. There's a lot of tankiness, but at least 1 to 2 other heroes. Like imagine if you set up for an Omni Slash, you know? You're probably killing. Or imagine you set up for Void Spirit. That's probably a kill. Or even Razor, really. With Razor, anybody that doesn't have super mobility like AM, Razor, and you can probably kill people. So what you should be doing is looking for those kills in the mid. Basically, like once you get a little bit of levels, you need to use those levels and a little bit of farm you have to move around and set up kills is probably what you need to do. So we'll see if you can do that successfully here in your match. In terms of starting at items, this is fine. I think the Windlace is... It's okay. It's kind of up to preference, basically, the way you want to spend your money. You've got good regen. One thing you maybe could have gotten is a... maybe like a Ring of Basilius or something like that if you wanted to buy that instead of a Windlace. Because then it would provide you more mana regen in the lane, basically. If expecting to be against a Shadow Demon, hypothetically, you could have done a Magic Stick as well. And part of the nice thing about being a 4-position offlane, and this is something you should be considering, is that getting a Ring of Basilius is even less of a penalty than it is for the safe laners. Because if you look at the map, the distance for the courier to run is a lot less. This distance here, from here to here, is not nearly as much as this to here. This is a much longer stretch on the map because they have to go like all the way to here. So your equivalent is about this. So your map length is like here. So your courier gets there faster, which means that you can send the courier back a couple times. So if you start with a Basilius, you're not necessarily hurt in terms of other things. This is really good. I like the harass here. This is really good. I think you did that excellent. This is pretty much your job. Part of the reason I wish you had Basie is in a moment like this, of course, because then you'd be refilling your mana faster, and you're going to a Null Talisman. Now, a Null Talisman rush, I kind of don't like. It's kind of good because it will give you, it's going to give you decent damage output, like your right click is going to be better, you have a little bit more mana. But I think I would much prefer you to have a Basie, because it's going to give you a lot more regen in the lane. You're basically doing this right, walking away from disruption, then you're going to resume looking for a kill. See, like you brought yourself a clarity because you think you need a little bit of regen, and you kind of do, but I just think that you could have probably gotten away with making a Basie instead. It's a little expensive at 375, but even bringing like a Sage's Mask or something I think is probably a little better than a Mantle. Harassment has been good here. The other nice thing is that he has disruption, so he's basically useless. You shouldn't be afraid to trade with him though. This is great. That's great too. Yeah, you're doing a really good job on this lane. Your positioning is really solid, and the amount of pressure you're putting on your opponents is really good too. Just run away every time that he casts that. Yeah, eat a tango. I wouldn't be afraid to stun him though. Your mana's full at this point. So go for a stun trade, even if you are succeeding a little bit. Like, I would have stunned right there. Full mana, you're wasting 1.7 mana regen right now. Yeah, 1 creep, that's not bad. And you got a stack, which is great. Good denies. You should be playing over here. You should go for the skill. And you messed up a little bit with your skill build. You should have gone for Fiery Soul instead, because basically you don't really want to cast Dragon Slave because it only does 85 magic damage. So you could basically argue that if you have Fiery Soul instead, that every time you cast Light Strike Array, which is going to be often because you're going to be using it in these moments of harass, then you get 40 attack speed, and the 5% movement speed is fine. It's like 15 movement speed. But the 40 attack speed bonus is really good. So you could use the Fiery Soul bonus to effectively make your 100 mana that you spend on Light Strike Array become more damage than normal. So generally, if you're playing support Lina, in a lot of cases in mid lane as well, you'll get Fiery Soul at level 2 just for that extra benefit. It was very useful here, I must say, because it lets you figure out which one of the Shadow Demons is the bad one. Because then they all get lowered faster, but a little bit late on your pull, unfortunately, because you're busy. Good job denying so far. You should be getting this last hit. That was a big mistake. You realized late. So you did know, but you just didn't realize in time. Now you're buying Magic Wand. I would argue that you're spending a little bit too much on small items, basically. Like, a Null Talisman is just really not something I think that's... Like, maybe it's okay that you bought one. You definitely shouldn't buy any more than this. I could maybe argue that having boots instead might be a little better. But it's I don't know. It's maybe a little bit of preference, but I just wish you had a base here, I guess. And I think you should have been using your spells just a little bit more so far, is basically it. You are doing a great job right-clicking, and the fact that you haven't used your spells, like, you've been pretty conservative about it. Now that you've gotten Dragon Slave at 2, I'm fine with you getting into third point Dragon Slave. I don't see its value. If you've already skilled one Dragon Slave and one Light Strike, I don't think it's worth it to go back for a Fiery Soul, potentially, because then your one Dragon Slave level is wasted, if that makes sense. Because now you've got the most new potential possible at level 3. But generally, like I said before, I would prefer that you went passive instead. Oh, I was like, oh no, Anti-Mage is going to get the bounty runes. Nope. You definitely should have stunned him in this moment here. Right about here. I was stunned. Especially as soon as he runs to you, put a stun down right in front of you. There's no reason you can't stun that guy and do a bunch of damage. It's just going to make his trade feel a little bit worse, basically. Probably should have gone for the stun there on Anti-Mage. You got to stop taking these poison attacks. You're going to take a lot of damage now. Not the worst, but you could have dragged that. Let me show you. So I know you pulled a little bit late and you felt weird about this. You're right to stop moving here, but if we watch this, as soon as this starts being animated, this guy's animation, that means he's going to attack you. You can start moving towards a creep wave. So you should have been running up here. That way, it'll drag the attack. And instead of aggroing 1, you probably could have gotten 2, maybe 3 creeps instead. But it was good that you waited, and even getting the range creep is great. I just wished a little bit that you had been successful in getting the whole wave, because it would have made a huge difference. Because obviously it's a big stack. You should probably use your Clarity Potion here. Okay, you got it. You're reading my mind perfectly. Reading my mind 10 days in the past. Ooh, this is unfortunate. This guy messed up on this one big time. Still got some creeps, though. You'll get 1. You got your bounty as well. This is great. This is like one of those moments where I kind of just wish you had boots instead, to be honest, because you'd be able, like, I think it's okay to buy it. If like the Magic Wand upgrade, I think was a little bit overkill. I kind of wish you would just gone Magic Stick. I think it's fine to buy Magic Stick before boots, even after the Null Talisman here. But the full Magic Wand upgrade is a little expensive. It's 150 gold. It's like, well, you get 1 stat, and you're not going to get up to 20 charges probably in the course of laning, because you basically won the lane, right? So they're not going to stay in the lane much. Which means that you're not going to really be accruing charges at a huge rate. If you get ganked and die, it's going to be like 6, 7 spells probably. So I feel like just Magic Stick alone is okay, because the comparative value of having boots here is better, because now you'd be getting the bounty runes faster. You could roam and gank a little bit easier as well. Ganking mid is super, super easy actually. It would be really effective for you to gank this. Like, look at this lane. It's a Viper. He's tanky, obviously, very, very tanky, but it's against a Razor who has a massive amount of damage with Static Link. So basically, despite him being tanky, your mid has huge damage potential. And you have a stun. And he's a very slow hero, 280 movement speed without boots. He does have a ward here, but this is like one of those moments as a 4 position where you should consider ganking, especially if you've won your lane like this. Like, the best thing you can do, like, and this is how I play terribly. I don't look around the map enough. And it causes me to not realize that there's opportunities. I just get really focused in my lane thinking, how can I win my lane more? But just by looking here briefly, I instantly thought like, oh, it's a Viper and we have a Razor. I can gank that. So sometimes it really helps just to get these like little reminders, like go see what the matchup is, take a look at what Viper's items are, take a look at what Razor's items are, and think like, can I gank that? Your courier could be bringing you a smoke, for example. That would be useful, especially pre-boots, because ganking mid with a smoke would be pretty doable here. Looks like Pudge is going to go try it himself, probably because he's not doing anything else. But yeah, ganking mid I think would be a good thing to do.
Dire's courier has been killed.
More pulls, side pulls I think would be nice. That you shouldn't be dragon slaving like this, you're making a mistake. What you should be doing is trying to stun from darkness. He did see you come up, but what you should do is probably walk to this position here. If you walk here, see, you're basically walking up, but the problem is that he probably has vision of this. Night vision is about, I think it's like about 700 on creeps. We'll slow this down and watch the vision. If you come up this way, he's going to see you. If you come this way and tuck in here, there's a little pocket here, very common. You'll see a lot of players stand in it. If you stand here, let's see your light strike range. See what your range is? So if we imagine your hero here instead of here, you could stun him right now. You could put a stun right here. And you might think, oh, but I'm trapped in there. But you got a tangle left. Eat this tree, and then you get through. So this is a very, very common place to stand for supports when you're trying to land a disable on the anti-mage. And even if you don't kill him, it's fine. But you shouldn't be throwing Dragon Slave like this. I'm not sure why you are. I mean, it harasses him, which is cool and all, but there's no reason you shouldn't stun first and get a possibility of killing him. That would be more valuable. So that's just like a small little thing that you should have been doing instead. Now you are going to attempt a side pull. Those will aggro to the neutrals. Server ward obviously was... Once again, you're throwing Dragon Slaves because you're like, well, I'm out of range. I might as well try to help. And this is like a common problem that players will make on Lina. It's like, first of all, you should have the movement speed. Like, imagine, like all this gold advantage you have. Imagine if you had spent this on a boost of speed instead. This guy would be fucked. Because he doesn't have boots yet, because you guys killed him a few times. But instead you spent it on these like little items that do help you if two players fight to the death without retreating. But now in these opportunities where you're trying to grab people or trying to initiate a fight, it's very difficult for you to be successful because of the gold you spent. And you've already spent like 900 gold or something. Your net worth is almost the same as Anti-Mage, just 2,000, and you still don't have boots yet. Which is just so important on a hero that has a very low cooldown stun, has a really good animation, has level advantage. Like, these are all really good things. Interesting. Aether Remnant can't land if you don't see it coming. Or if you stop moving, that is. And now you've got your Fiery Soul, which is great. It's fine, just walk away. Once again, you're doing the right thing. Oh, not good. You look pretty dead. Hypothetically, you could have maybe tried to like eat a tree, but I don't blame you for dying there. That would look pretty overwhelming in the moment. Did you get boots finally? Okay, you got boots finally. That's great. I would have TP'd back top lane, although hypothetically walking is fine too. If you do walk back, cast 2 spells before you leave the fountain, because then you'll get 10% movement speed, which is like 32 movement speed. It'll get you there just a little bit faster. Doing the same thing here. You're walking up in vision to stun. If he wanted to, he could try to react to this. Probably hasn't been. And now you're going to side pull or something. Him contesting your side pulls like this is probably one of the most frustrating. See, again, you didn't drag the creep wave, so you're only getting the range creep. Like, if you would have connected, if you would have done a successful side pull like twice, I think this game would be very, very different right now. Anti-Mage's net worth is still very high, and that's largely because he's gotten almost every creep wave, because almost very few have been side pulls. So I don't know if part of it is just that you're pulling late, or if Shadow... I mean, part of it is that definitely that Shadow Demon has done a good job contesting things, but it's good that you guys are basically both doing a good job of contesting pulls, is what's happening. You should have stunned there. Why attack twice and give him the vision, you know? If you're going to come back and he's walking up, stun him right here. It looks like he's committing. If he runs to here, he looks like he's committing. You should stun him right there, and you guys should get this kill. Or at least do a shitload of damage to Pudge. He has 0 armor. Well, he's got almost 1, but there's literally no reason that you guys don't heavily damage Pudge right here. Generally, you've been too conservative and not throwing stuns. Because every time you throw a stun, you're attacking somebody like 6 times. 6 times is a shitload of damage. That is 450 physical damage. just for 1 stun. And if you want, you can Dragon Slave on top of that. And your ally's going to throw up a stun afterwards, which gives you another like 2 or 3 right clicks at least. So like stunning people is bonkers good. I feel like you kind of ditched a little bit. Let me rewatch that one again. So stun misses. Double nuke. Basically, you started running away from Pudge way too early. You got scared. Pudge walks into melee range and you're getting scared. But you shouldn't be that worried about Pudge. He has literally no armor. You have 6.5. And yeah, he can rot damage you, but he's also rot damaging himself. He's only got Tranquil Boots. Like, you actually can easily fight Pudge to the death and win. But as soon as Pudge gets in melee range, you gave up and stopped right-clicking. Whereas if you kept right-clicking the Shadow Demon would have died a little bit faster, and maybe Void Spirit doesn't have to over-chase. Not saying it would have made a difference, but the fact that you ran back when you did was wrong. You also shouldn't have used Wand here. I don't know if that was a mistake or not, but obviously you could use like a... Could have used your Clarity instead, for example. You should be getting all these last hits. Very important. This is a Pudge is a kill. You did it again. You're using Dragon Slave right away. You need to stun or... Like, you're basically giving up your opportunities. Okay, think of it this way. The closer that Pudge is to you, the higher chance that you land your Light Strike Array, right? Because then you can throw it as far ahead or as close to you as possible. But if you... Let me pause at the exact moment you fucked up so we can really analyze it. This is the point that you messed up. Right now, slow this down a lot, and then look at the range really quick. Okay, see your range? By casting Light Strike, or by casting Dragon Slave now, he is going to run out of the range of your Light Strike Array at this moment. And by doing this, now you can't guarantee a kill, because when he's stunned, you get more right clicks and the opportunity to Dragon Slave. Dragon Slave should almost always be the last thing that you cast on Lina, or... Yeah, basically. You would Light Strike Array, ulti, Dragon Slave, usually. That's the reason is because Dragon Slave's AoE is fucking huge. Look at this. And it goes farther than that. It's a huge long-range spell. So as soon as you cast Dragon Slave like this, you give up on killing this Pudge. This guy should have been punished like at least twice now by you, but you have not done it. That's generally, in my opinion, because players at medium or lower levels are afraid of Pudges. But the reality is you don't have to be. He's weaker than you are if you fight him to the death. And you have a stun and he doesn't, and you do more magic damage. He's got literally no upside other than the fact that he can reposition your hero, which is obviously very powerful if done correctly. But it's still 2v2, like he can blinding light the anti-mage, for example. So as soon as you don't throw your stun, Pudge lives. Look how low he got. If you land a stun and attack him like 4 times, he dies, 100%. And now you go, oh, I need a stun. It's too late. And you've done this consistently. Your opener is always Light Strike Array, feeling where they're going to move, landing the stun, and then you get to make choices. You get to right-click him at least 2 or 3 times, and then you get to make a decision. Is he low enough to Dragon Slave? Okay, if so, Dragon Slave him. Or maybe you just Dragon Slave for the damage, because you're like, I've got lots of mana. I'll throw a Dragon Slave here. These are all the choices that you're making when you play Lina, and you haven't been making good decisions. You're like doing fine, but not incredible. You should Dragon Slave this creep. Okay, you did. Great. Beautiful. And you should have stunned here. There's no reason for you to retreat here. Anti-Mage is going to come for this range creep. Why not stand, and as he walks up, stun him here? If you stun him, you guys both right-click him like 5 times. You know? I'm not sure why you hesitated, but... Okay. Okay, now you're running back top. So now if I were you, what I would do is just start blasting this wave. It's not going to work amazing against anti-mage. I would attack range creep once and I would just nuke this whole thing. This is the part where you're basically stumbling as a position 5 player. Like, none of these... You shouldn't let him get any last hits. You have the upper hand. You have an AoE stun and you have a nuke. If he wants to right-click you, he has to get on top of you, which is scary for him. The only advantage that he has is if he blinks on you, you go to stun and he dodges it and then he keeps chasing you. That's an advantage for him. But you have boots, he doesn't, for example. And yeah, he's got some magic resistance and some good regen, but you should be bullying the shit out of this guy right now. This is your opportunity. And your Void Spirit has been gone for a while. If your Void Spirit leaves, you should be blasting this wave. So that's why I said attack the range creep once and Dragon Slave. Then you can't miss your deny, your last hit, which is delayed you getting 6, by the way. And that makes it all... You're like giving up opportunity, basically. And you should have been using this Clarity Potion. Go get your Arcane Boots here, then go back to Wave is what you should be doing. You're still basically playing the game right now as if it's the 5-minute mark. You haven't transitioned, and this is the thing that's hurting your gameplay the most right now, is that you're still in support mode. But when you play 4, you have to be a little greedy and a little bit more willing to take advantage of like lane control and stuff like that. And those lackings have really upset your curve, and also the most importantly is that anti-mage has done better as a result. And obviously you know a lot of that is side pull, and you've tried to do that, which is good, but if you don't do it successfully, then you at least need to like pressure the lane correctly or take these kills when you can. Like, you're doing great, you're 3-1 and 2, but you should be like 5 kills at least. Pudge should have died like 1 or 2 more times, and anti-mage should have been more pressured and more delayed from getting his battle fury basically. Alright, you got the side pull this time, which is perfect. That'll deny a whole wave. You still should have gotten your Arcane Boots by now. These are all going to die. You don't need to be here necessarily. So you're kind of wasting your time genuinely. Like, you have 2 people contesting the same pull to get denies. It's literally irrelevant. One of you could stand up here attacking Anti-Mage instead, for example. Like, why not come up here, stun Anti-Mage, and Dragon Slave him? And in fact, you might be able to kill him. If you and Void Spirit combo correctly, you could probably kill Anti-Mage right now. But instead, 2 of you keep doing the same thing, which is a waste of your time. Like, why is nobody right-clicking Anti-Mage right now? Here's something that he wants, this Siege Creep last hit. But he just does it for free while you guys are preoccupied, you know? I think we actually got the Anti-Mage. Sick. You didn't cancel your animation there. I think you could have casted 2 spells. This is really dangerous how you did this. We saw the Courier, or we saw the Pudge. Do you see what you did again? You did it again. You Dragon Slave first. Never Dragon Slave first. You are giving up your opportunity to land have a better chance to land a stun every time. Now when you go to land your Light Strike Array, look at your range. You're at maximum possible range, and where does Pudge go? He just keeps running. But the only reason he gets out is because you're always doing a stun from max possible range, and therefore you miss him again. If you land the stun on Pudge, this is less scary. You can land the stun, you can right-click him a little bit, break his Tranquil Boots, and then when he goes to hook you, you can dodge or something. But instead, look at what you do. You walk into melee range against a Pudge that does not have hook, and then he gets an ulti on you when you're completely out of position. So you just misplayed that fight in quite a couple different big ways. So basically what the issue is that you're not playing Lina quite effectively. And it might seem like really small stuff, like when to cast a stun and stuff, but it like vastly alters your decision making in a fight. Because like, think of it this way. Lina is a squishy hero. Your survivability comes down to landing your stun. And if you land the stun, you get to right click and deal extra damage and make really safe decisions about how much HP they have left and whether or not you can kill her. Because at her core, she's a squishy hero that has a lot of burst. But if you land your stun correctly, then you can guarantee damage. But if you miss your stun, then you're just like a squishy hero that doesn't do anything other than damage. And therefore, if you can't kill people at that damage, your hero is very weak. So it comes all down to landing your stun. That's why rushing Yules makes the hero so powerful, because it guarantees an easy way to land the stun. So basically what's missing is that you're casting Dragon Slave early, and it's putting you in all these bad situations because you're still trying to help, but you're not doing it in a super safe way. You still haven't bought your Arcane Boots yet, by the way. Not that it would have made that big of a difference, but getting into Arcane Boots faster would allow you to blast waves and blast Anti-Mage more, for example. So the fact that you're getting it this late is not good. If that makes sense. Alright, I'm going to try to accelerate from now because I know you're concerned about mid to late game stuff, but your Arcane Boots is sitting on the Courier, by the way. Now you're moving to the bot lane. Looks like you kind of want to ward. So this is generally the wrong place to play in the map at this stage of the game. The place you do want to play... This is your Arcane Boots, right? Pretty sure this is your Arcane Boots. The place you want to play usually is not in the bot lane. It's, Why are you doing this again? You're doing this again. You come up and you right click. All that matters is Light Strike Array. Once you get to this point, he knows you're here and you know he's here. What you should be doing is running with him to see where he's going. Once he starts running, okay, stun here. If he runs at you, stun here. But instead, you're right clicking him, and now you're like, oh shit, I'm out of range now. Well, might as well Dragon Slave. You keep doing the same thing. Now Jug's like, I really want to chase this. But the reality is that if you used all your spells on that guy, and he gets Omni Slash by himself, he just dies. but because you walked in and right-clicked him once, then now you've wasted your time. You walked all the way to the bot lane here to right-click the Underlord 2 times. For what benefit? And you warded here too, but like, this is not where you should be playing. You should be playing top, you should be pushing this lane, and you should be pressuring the tower. Not bottom. Safe lane at this stage of the game is not the right place to play. You should go top, bring one other core, like the Razor, and then you guys should gank whoever's in the lane, kill them, and then take the tower. So basically everything you're doing right now is just not very valuable. You might think like, this is, I mean, I need to do stuff, right? You did it again. You did it again. You walked in, you attacked once. For what? Now you're finally trying to land the stun. What, you did it again, you attacked once. Now you're trying to catch up. You're basically always wasting your initiation, and there's literally no reason you should play Lina if you're doing this. Is pretty much what's happening. Now this Jug is just so frustrated he tries to force the Omni Slash and no kill happens. And now everybody's just sad. So now you've come to this Jug's lane. You didn't actually score many kills. And now you're wasting your time. Anti-Mage still not being pressured in the slightest. Now you're just running around the map trying to figure out what to do. So, like, the playstyle that you're playing is definitely very 5-esque. Because what it's doing is you're thinking, like, I need to go pressure lanes, do pulls, things like that. And your pulling aspect was good. Like, you tried really hard to pull, which is good. You did stack pulls. You denied a few creeps. But you're not doing a good job in the slightest about offensive things. Offensive things is what you are completely lacking in this 15 minutes so far. And that is why this game is not, like, over, basically. It's, you guys have a good advantage, but, like, Anti-Mage still has enough farm where he could be competitive. And you also haven't really ganked at all. Either. You've laned, fights have happened, and you've cast your spells, but you haven't ganked a single time. Like, if you're going to walk all the way to the bot lane, attempt to gank. Don't walk in and start right-clicking the Underlord and let him run away. If you walk all the way to the bot lane, he doesn't know you're coming, probably. So you might as well at least turn it into a gank. And the gank doesn't have to be a kill, but at the very least, you should be landing a stun, dragon slaving the guy, and right-clicking him like 6 to 8 times. And then Jug can spin. And then maybe sometimes he's low enough and you realize like, oh shit, we can kill him. Then you use your ulti, for example. And just by doing, even if you don't kill him like that, you take away like 2/3 of his HP or half of his HP. And then he's not going to fucking feel comfortable to come up to the creep wave anymore because all he has is a headdress. That's not enough regen for him to feel comfortable. Then he's going to be like, man, I could get Omni Slash and die by myself. And then you can go back and power farm through the jungle, for example. Or you can leave the lane and go do something else. Because at least then you've exerted some pressure. But all you've done in all of these movements is come and say like, hey, so just so you know, I'm here. Don't play as aggressively. Watch out, I might cast a spell on you. You don't ever cast a spell on them. But you are telling them that you're nearby. Is that worth your time? It's not worth your time. Straight up not worth your time. Especially at this level because players aren't good enough to realize like, oh, I could die. If this was like a higher level game, what you're doing is actually more effective because they would be like, oh shit, they could kill me. I have to be really careful about farming. But at your level, they're just going to be like, shouldn't even cast a spell. Whatever, I'm going to stay here and keep getting last hits. But if you don't threaten them, if you don't like stab them a little bit with your little knife, then they're not going to be worried. So that's what you're missing from 4 gameplay, laning wise at least. The pulling stuff was good. You should have nuked more. You should have prioritized your arcane boots a little bit faster because then you could turn that mana into harassment and power farming and killing creep waves. And then from there you needed to gank more. Bring a smoke, land stuns on Anti-Mage and pressure him a lot so that he's low HP. And then when he leaves the lane to go jungle, you walk through the jungle and follow him, and who knows, maybe he'll be really low and you get a kill. Or maybe you follow him into the jungle and he's hitting these small creeps and you cast Dragon Slave and he has to leave again and you follow him again. You know, that's kind of what the stuff that you're supposed to be doing. That's real pressure. And in the meantime, your Void Spirit's sitting here getting every single last hit and deny with no pulls being accomplished, basically. That's what you should be doing. But basically, you've been playing 5. Like you said, you're having some issues with the transition, but that's what you're missing right now. And now you're kind of just going to be aimless, walking around like, oh, what do I need to find something to do. You're going to find this kill probably, and you're going to feel good about it. You're going to feel like, I did something. Did you set up this kill, though? Not really. It was Void Spirit. You were just kind of here. Now what should you do instead? You should get to the top lane. You should just basically blast this wave now, which is appears what you're doing, which is good. You nuke the wave. Why are you leaving? Why are you leaving? Push this wave. You should have stayed like you blocked. Well, okay. I guess you should TP to this fight, but Mr. Stone, unfortunately. Okay. Okay, alright. This is good. This is good. I was worried that you didn't go for the Underlord, but I think your teleport was good. But yeah, you need to stay in the lane. This is the ever important thing. If there's nobody in the lane, one person should pressure it. And because you have tons of mana regen from Arcane Boots and you've got lots of mana from Fated Brooch, you should be the lane blaster. If nobody's here, blast the waves, get the creeps on the tower so the tower can die. Once this tower's dead, you move your wards deeper, and then you control this part of the map. But nobody's really been super committing to the push, and that's why the towers aren't dead yet. There should be at least like 2 dead towers right now. This tower could be dead as well. This, doing what you're doing, this is great. You shouldn't just do this when enemy heroes are dead. You should do it when enemy heroes aren't in the lane. And if somebody shows up, then you can leave. It's fine. Go jungle instead, you know? Great. Tower dies. And you know what? You could stay. There's going to be a creep wave right here. Right here. Boom. There's a creep wave. You walk up to this. You Dragon Slave in like half a second. This creep dies and the range creep dies. But instead, what are you going to do? I don't know. You're going to walk around. But now the creep wave's going to be here. This creep wave could be dead or at least half pressured. Instead, what you're going to be doing is running around the map, kind of looking for something to happen. And something is happening because the Razor's being aggressive. But you didn't necessarily... Like you are here, which is kind of good, but like... You also didn't really need to be here either. Does that make sense? It's like you moved over and Razor happened to be starting a fight, but in reality, without knowing that that was going to happen, unless he was talking to you, of course, you should have blasted this creep wave. Because you would have gotten another 200 gold and a little bit more experience. And then if the fight's happening, you may just teleport instead. You could have teleported here, also been at the fight, and also gotten like a creep wave and a half. And then your creeps would be like running up and slapping this tower as well. But instead, all this gold is just going to sit here. And the fight wasn't even that great anyways, because all these fights are like chaotic. They might be effective, but they're probably not started in an organized way. In an organized way, it would be like you guys executing a gank. Instead, what probably happened was like, there happened to be somebody in this lane with Razor, so he's like, alright, I'll try to fucking kill him. Tower dies. Now what's going to happen? Razor's walking around, and Razor's walking around. Hey, somebody's in the lane. He's like, ah, fuck it, I'll try to kill him. He did execute a gank here. But what was this shit? That was weird. Okay, he got the kill. That was cool. And you should have stunned for Pudge. As soon as Anti-Mage got over it, you're trying to save him, obviously, but stunning the Anti-Mage is really hard. You should have stunned Pudge and ran away, so you kind of killed yourself. You're also rushing Aetherlands, which is it's fine. It's just a little dangerous, I think. I don't know. Maybe Eul's is better. It's hard to say. I definitely wouldn't have gone damage talent, I don't think. I would go more cast range. Maybe you feel like it's overkill, but it's not like you have treads or that much raw damage, so I don't know. You don't have that much opportunity to right click, in my opinion. So I would just go all the way cast range, and you can basically sit back and keep casting Light Strike or Ace from safety. That's what I would probably prefer. So from here, I'm guessing the same kind of stuff keeps happening, which is like you kind of just head to the lane. I would keep Fated Brooch, maybe. Essence Ring is good too, I guess. Essence Ring is probably fine, actually. Mana regen. It's nice to have the extra heal as well in you. But Fated Brooch is really good. I'm surprised nobody's using it. I guess it makes sense that these guys aren't. The rest aren't, but it's hard for me to pass it up, especially if you have like Tranquils or something. Like if you made Tranquils right now, you had Fated Brooch, and this was like another windlace, you'd be really fast. You'd be like 440 or something like that, I feel like stupid fast. So I think, and I generally think that's a little bit more valuable than having an Essence Ring in a lot of cases. Like Fated Brooch is one of those tier 1 items that it's like almost always really, really good. That was good. Really good stun by you. Okay. That was good. So you are showing up to fights. It's all really good. You should be blasting waves right now. Blasting neutrals. You could nuke these, for example. You don't need to walk all the way to this creep wave, for example, because Jug is already going to push it, basically. So instead, what you could have done with this downtime is killed this wave. Or killed this wave. You should blast this next creep wave. Beauty. But you see what I mean? Like, in this time period, you definitely could have killed the small camp. Instead of walking to the creep wave just to walk with Jug. And as well, it's not good for you to be here anyways. This is not where you should be standing. Because when they come defend this, they're going to be here. Where you should be standing is over here. That way you can pivot in from the side. So already you're failing your roll again. Because your role is not to hit towers. Like, blasting the wave was good, but you should be over here instead. Like, if Coddle should be anywhere, it should probably be here-ish. Because he has more, like, defensive skills, basically. He doesn't have his ulti either, and he can't defend himself as well. So he wants to stand back. But you want to stand up here, because then you could potentially Light Strike Array the Shadow Demon in that defense. Like, watch this. He's going to aggro the creeps, and if this was Envision, it would aggro. And obviously, it's a little scary because they're going to be heroes here as well. But that's the whole purpose of playing in this area. This is where it sucks. It should be like up here or a little bit deeper probably, or over here. I think would be better. Any of these three would be better than this spot. This one's like it helps you like when you aren't pushing the tower basically, but you guys were pushing the tower, so it's kind of bad timing. Anyway, so yeah, play over here instead. That way you could swoop in and land initiation to make the fight go easier. Now you're going mid to push. This is good. Blast this. Beauty. Blast the next one. Why did Coddle TP here? I don't fucking know. Another wave. Cool, what should you be doing? Killing neutrals. You got plenty of mana. One person should push bottom. Oh, it's already all the way over here. Like, you're doing a lot of aimless running a lot of these times. Like, it's I don't know if you play carry that often, but like if you play carry a little bit more, you kind of understand where you should be. Now 3 of you guys just push mid at the same time for almost no reason. You're dewarding, which is good, but now a weird fight has started, basically. That probably won't go very good for your homie. Once again, you did it again. Do not lead with your nukes. You always lead with your Light Strike Array. Because until you know that they will be not moving, you should not be using your nukes ever. Always stun first. Almost always. It's like 90% of the time you stun first. Okay, so I think that's probably okay for the game, but main takeaways. Stun first is the big one, obviously. Be willing to do spell combos. Definitely upgrade to Tranquil Boots just because you want the raw movement speed. It's really important. Maybe you want to save for having like BOTs later, but I think it's just so much safer for you just to buy Tranquil Boots to up your movement speed a lot, which will therefore make it easier for you to catch up and land Light Strike Arrays, which again is your most important thing. Obviously having more cast range helps that too, but, and again, you really didn't need the 35 damage. I've only seen you attack like creeps basically. Heroes, you don't really have the capability to stand and attack heroes much, so I would prefer that you went for that instead. Force Staff is fine. I don't think I'm upset with that. Yule's may be a little safer as a rush instead of Aetherlands because it'd be easier for you to move around and set up kills or defend yourself. But yeah, and then just do push lanes is the main thing you should be defaulting to. And once lanes get pushed, then you can approach like this to set up kills when the towers are pressured. Is basically what you should be rinse repeating, and then you should move around to set up kills with like Razor, for example, or Juggernaut when he has Omni Slash, that kind of stuff. That's who you should be playing around. If you're looking for ganks and if no one's pushing a lane. If I was respawning right now, I would TP bottom and I would push this out because everybody's already top. They can push out top, no problem. So I would TP bottom, blast this until I got all the way to about here. Then I could maybe meet up with my teammates here, or I can farm through the jungle for a little bit to go like this way. So like basically if there's an open lane, you should be taking farm, and that should be done by taking waves. Okay, let's check the other replay. This is a Lich game. This is a 3-stack game. I wonder if you're playing 4 again for this one. Oops, did I press a new button? Okay, this is yours. Cool. Lich. Okay, so you are playing as a 4-position Lich, which is... It can function as a 4, but it's not as simple as it used to be, is how I would describe it. You're going to be laning into Monkey King, which is a little bit scary. Once again, you're going heavy regen, no basey, which I think is probably fine. Lich's armor is a little low, is one of the scary parts. His movement speed's been nerfed a bit too. His base damage is a little bit more mediocre. But we can make this work. I would look at their lane a little bit less if I were you personally. Fortunately, you gave up all of your bounty runes. That's not true. Only one. That was good. Shouldn't have attacked there. You could have chased and gotten the kill with Frost Blast. You should be instantly right-clicking. Yeah, perfect. You're focusing too much on denying like a 5 would. You should be thinking more about harassing your opponent. Like, denying there is good, but not melee creeps are not as important. Don't worry too much about melee. Like, if you could, basically, if you have the option between attacking your opponent 2 to 3 times or denying a melee creep, I would generally prefer you to attack the, especially if you're playing 4 and you're hitting carries, then it should be done. The reason I say is because if you're like a 5 and you're attacking offlaners are typically, they have more regen, they are better at contesting the lane despite taking damage. That's a little bit different. But like a Monkey King who went Orb of Venom first, pressure the shit out of this guy. He does have a lot of regen, I guess, but he's also got really low armor at the start of the game. And if you keep his regen down, he's gonna feel less comfortable to hit creeps. And a carry missing last hits is like, I think losing the gold is generally more important than him losing the experience, if that makes sense. So yes, you'd be denying experience and potentially gold if you deny, but if you just zone him from the lane, he's also not getting gold and not getting as much experience, and the gold is more important. So I'd rather you harass him and make him realize that every time he comes from last hit, he's getting right-clicked 3 times by you. I think that is more useful than you standing there like trying to wait for the perfect moment to contest the last hit with your 52 damage. In moments like this, then yeah, sure, whatever. Just do the denies, because like there's not that much creep spacing between you. I like that you're getting boots right here. I think this is going to help a lot. I don't like that you're going for a null talisman. I don't think that's necessary. I think I would prefer you to have a ring of Basilius instead. You're not attack moving enough between these attacks. You're just standing still. Your camera should be moved down. See, this is why. Because he might run up at you. It was harder for you to see him coming. And this is why you need the basey, especially in this lane, because Lich is a much more spam-heavy hero. And you can't really spam because you have spent all of your money on boots, and you only brought like 2 mangoes, I think, and you used them all in the first minute. You are bringing more regen now, which is good, but I just think it was a little bit delayed, so to speak. Again, you're not attack moving well enough here. You shouldn't be fighting to the death, and you should have eaten a tango already. As soon as you started taking damage, you should have been eating a tango. And now basically your guys' lane is kind of lost. Like, dude, you've had 5 tangos this whole time. Since the Monkey King started harassing you, could have been eating a tango. Now you're going back because your HP is low, which is probably the right thing to do. Did you not buy boots? Is that what happened? I think you canceled your boots and you bought a null talisman instead. I don't think I like that. Especially because you're against a Monkey King. Like, think of it this way. Lich is unlike Lina, Lich is basically like a monster who can cast nukes very often, has lots of slow, and what you should be doing is staying away from your opponent but close, but following them enough that you can keep casting spells. And yeah, having a null talisman is here kind of nice here because your mana pool is going to be bigger now when you come back to lane, but you still should have been power eating these tangos anyways. I don't know why you ran all the way around here. You definitely should have been pressuring the monkey here. Like, you're still sitting behind the creep wave consistently. Like, he's not going to come past the tower. You should be standing here or right here. If you don't right-click him, then these won't aggro to you. But at the least, when he walks forward, at this moment, he should be getting nuked and right-click like 4 times. Watch what the Night Stalker does. Night Stalker throws the nuke at him. And he's doing this basically because Monkey King is pressurable here, and he doesn't, like, Monkey King almost came up and contested that range creep. That should not happen if you're full mana like this. But you're sitting too far back. Again, there too. He's getting that last hit. Where's the lane going to go? It's going to go forward. Why are you not moving forward already? You're sitting back waiting for the creep to die, then you're coming forward. You shouldn't be doing this. You should be already ahead of thinking like, oh, the lane is about to push. I need to move forward and get ready to harass. But you're constantly sitting behind the creep wave. But this is the role of a 5 in a lot of cases because your 5s are squishier. You are a 4. You are ready to pressure. You are ready to set up kills. By the way, you attacked once there. You should have moved a little bit. You got to attack. You got to attack and move. And this is the other problem with the way that you're playing, is that if you keep playing passively like this, where you're sitting behind, every time that a fight starts, it's going to be Night Stalker who's taking damage. There's a reason the Night Stalker only has 1 tango left, and you have 5 tangos left. Part of it was because you didn't eat over here, but because you're never in the front. Sometimes it needs to be the other way around, because basically what happens here is that the fight is going to begin, and they're going to go on Night Stalker, and you're going to pick one of these two to go on. It's probably going to be Monkey King. But once the fight is over, at best, what's going to happen is Monkey King will die and probably Night Stalker will also die. But imagine if it was the other way around. Imagine if both of these guys go on you and you throw some spells and then Night Stalker comes in. Then you might be able to get a kill with you dying but Night Stalker is staying alive. But because he's always the one in front, he's always going to be potentially traded out is the problem. And that's really scary. Because in the long run, over the course of the laning stage, it's going to mean that he's more behind and you are more ahead, but that isn't necessarily a good thing for the supports. Oh, I wasn't resumed. I was on pause this whole time. I was like 16 and it's not done yet. Use this way too early as well. It's fine to use that if the fight is happening or whatever, but look at your positioning right now again. Look how far back you're standing. This is a melee hero. All you're missing is Frost Shield. You could be right-clicking this guy. You're letting him get free last hits. And again, you don't have to deny him, but you should be right-clicking him multiple times. Look at your positioning again. Look how far back you're standing. You should be standing here and right-clicking this guy right now. But instead, for you to right-click him, you're going to get one right-click when he comes up to get one last hit. Look at this. It's literally like you're not here. The way that you're playing this lane, it's literally like you're not here. Night Stalker is being slapped by Jingu Mastery. Every time Night Stalker has to pull creeps past the creep wave to even feel comfortable getting last hits right now. You should have nuked this range creep, because now he gets a deny and you guys lose a lot more experience. Look at your positioning. Look, this is what you're doing right now. You are guarding a fucking melee creep right in front of your tower. This is what you're doing with your time. There's no reason for you to be here. Night Stalker will get this last hit. You do not need to stand and watch him get this last hit. You should at least be standing here. Or here. And stand here and right-click this Monkey King. Are you scared of him? Who gives a shit? You do a lot of damage, you have an attack speed slow, and you can give yourself armor. This guy doesn't have boots yet, so what's the problem? There's like no worry for you to worry about dying. You just need to get here, and you need to make sure that you're doing something in the lane. And eventually you're moving over because you see that he's going to do a pull, but like this whole time, you haven't been pressuring him. You pressured really good the first like minute and a half, and then you basically gave up the lane and played really passively. Pull got messed up. They're chasing you. This is like the first good thing you've done in like 3 minutes. This was not really needed, I don't think. If I were you, I would have saved that, but... Okay, you were able to get him. That was pretty close. Should have probably eaten your tango earlier, I imagine. I bet you had opportunities. Alright, you're going to get the other bounty, which is great. Eat another tango. Should be eating another tango. Should have eaten another tango a long time ago. You should be full HP right now. Look at your positioning again. Try not to use a nuke just for the damage. A nuke should be used, especially any nuke that has disable should be used as a way to get free right clicks in. Like if you nuke Monkey King right now, you can attack him 3 times. If you nuke Dazzle like that when the creep wave is pushing up, all you're doing is nuking once and you're not getting as much value for your mana. Like imagine nuking him before he's trying to get a last hit and then you attack him 4 times. He's going to feel like, man, I took a nuke and I got attacked 4 times just to get one last hit. And then if you do that over the course of the whole laning stage, all of a sudden he's like, man, I'm getting so pressured. But the reality is that Dazzle's being as inconsequential as you are. So, like, Monkey King doesn't really notice a problem here. But if you've been pressuring as well as Dazzle has, or if you pressure well and Dazzle plays like he does, then Monkey King gets dumpstered in this lane. But what has happened in both of these lanes, and maybe not as much in this one because Monkey King has been not last hitting as well, but he's basically doing as well as Night Stalker, is that you're basically letting the carries just about get whatever they want. And yeah, you're getting some kills and you're helping your lane a little bit, but you're really not doing that much. And once again, you're waiting here for all of your creeps to die. You should already be over here. Like, I'll show you the point where you should leave this lane. Nuke this guy, attack a few times. Leave the lane. It's over. You don't need to be here. Go over here. If you stand here, you still get all the experience, but you're in a position that allows you to potentially pressure this guy. Like, there's literally, as soon as this creep aggroes to the rest of the wave, you do not need to be here. But all you're ever doing is sitting behind the creep wave, scared to come up. This is good. What just happened was good. They are going on you. Now Night Stalker can come forward, and you can easily get a kill. Ooh, that was really close. Well done, though. Should have been eating a tango this whole time. You seem very scared to eat your tangos. I get that you're missing a lot of mana here, which is a little bit justified for going back to heal, but I don't know. It's a little bit late. I'd plant the mango tree here. Beauty. Grab those mangoes. I love mangoes in the lane stage. Why aren't you TPing? Okay, you are TPing. Why didn't you TP earlier? I feel like you should have teleported much earlier. Like to the bot lane or something. Ah, the tower A. That was a valuable wand. Oh, you shouldn't have run back in. Okay. It's hard to lane Zeus against TA, so I'm not too surprised that TA's or Zeus is having a little trouble, but oh, I was like, did he TP mid? Oh, I see, he got the TA kill. That's pretty valuable, yo. Alright, so now you are heading where? To go D-ward? Prepping for bounties, it seems. Oh, this is good. I like this move. If not for this, though, you should be going to the lane. You should be here right now. It's like Zeus will handle that, but going to back him up is probably smart. It's a pretty good game for a lot of Frost Shield levels. TA and MK. Even like Death or Witch Doctor too. So this is a part where like Lich isn't very good at lane stuff compared to what Lina does, because Lina can AoE blast really easily. So this is one place where a Lich 4 is really inadequate. Because normally if you're a 4 at this point with some kind of AoE, you can just, and you get in these situations where you're like, it's a support, I'm a support. You just blast the waves and everything's pretty straightforward. But you are still playing too safe. Like you're still doing like pre-10 minutes thing. This is the wrong thing to do at this stage in the game. You have a Zeus here with a shitload of damage. Fucking give him a kill, you know? Set up a kill for him. Walk forward. Stand in this position, stay hidden, and try to land a chain disable on Dazzle and then kill him. But instead you're thinking like, I'm still laning. You should not be laning at this point, basically. And the feeling for this is normally when like lanes move. Your off lane isn't really here anymore because he's finding kills elsewhere. Like the rules change at this point. And it's not like you shouldn't try for these kills at this like in the laning stage as well. But look at Zeus. He's level 8. He's got a perfect skill build. He's got great items. This is the time to try to get kills, and you're just focusing on like small things at this point. But if heroes get killed, you can push the wave and you can potentially take tower. In fact, what should happen is you should bring one other hero to this lane, like Night Stalker ideally. Bring Night Stalker to this lane and just fucking kill whoever's here. Because look at Monkey King. He's got a magic stick. He's level 6. You can absolutely kill Monkey King with Zeus. You just need to go through like 2 rotations of Lightning Bolt over 6 seconds and a Zeus ulti and he dies. So if you bring a third hero here and you kill this guy, then the tower gets killed. See what I mean? You didn't do this though. You didn't do this. Dazzle did that because he's stupid. You reacted, you were there to nuke him. But that was not a gank. That was you reacting. Yeah, you used your spell good in the circumstances, but you didn't create that. So what you're basically doing is every game that you play, you are always putting your game in the hands of your opponents. You're like, hey, I'm not ever going to set up anything offensive, but I'm going to give you guys. But if you guys do something, I'm going to use my spells well. And you've been using your spells, except for the Lina game. You've been using your spells quite well this game. But you're putting your game in the hands of your opponents instead of saying like, hey, I'm going to look for kills. You never look for kills, and you don't lane pressure enough. And you did it pretty good on Lina. You did it quite good on Lina. You right-clicked a lot for lane pressure. That part was really good, but I didn't see you do that at all this game. Like the Lina game, you were walking up to here. You were fighting in the Shadow D. I mean, you're attacking the anti-mage a little bit. This Lich game, no, you're just sitting back behind the creep wave constantly. And maybe it's because you feel squishier because you don't have a stun, but Frost Blast is a better skill in a lot of ways than Light Strike Array is in the laning stage. Because it's a 7, I mean, they're both 7-second cooldowns, but Frost Blast does more damage. It lowers attack speed and movement speed for 4 seconds. It's like a very, very good skill. But instead, you're sitting behind the creep waves, and you're kind of waiting for stuff to happen. And this is why you're getting behind. Look at this guy. He's got 700 HP. He is so killable. And what are you doing over here? You're attacking creeps. What is this shit? Why are you attacking creeps? Who gives a shit about this? You should not be attacking creeps. You should be trying to set up kills. You should be sitting here, waiting to see if he comes up too forward, and then you can sneak out and nuke him and use Sinister Gaze afterwards. And then he just dies. But instead, you're sitting here like, I'm a support. I'm going to deny creeps. It's a waste of your time. I'm a support. I'm gonna pull waves. You want to get kills at this point. You guys have enough levels to get kills, so you should be getting kills. Now you're doing ward stuff, which is good, but again, I mean, it's not bad for you to be warding, but this should be a kill. You're pinging it. All right, this is like the first kill that you've gone for like an actual pickup. Ooh, this is a little scary. Okay, great. That was great. That was really, really good. Why are you TPing mid? Let's go look. No. No. Bad. You do not do this. You do not. Look, maybe they're communicating like, hey guys, someone come mid, we can get a kill. You need to look every time. Look anyways. Look with your camera. This is what I want. This is what I want you to know. I'm looking. What's happening? Oh, yeah, we can maybe make a kill here. If I look right now, this fight's fucking over. Chen is probably dead. And Night Stalker is basically running away, but Chen looks dead to me. And now you're going to teleport in. You're running up to potentially fight. Maybe this works. But this fight is effectively over, is what it looks like to me. And now you've teleported here for no reason. And it's not the biggest deal because you guys already got a kill here. But if I were you, I would have preferred to stay bottom and keep pressuring that tower. Because if you just kill the tower, then they have to leave anyways, you know? But now Zeus doesn't feel safe pushing up because he's by himself. And he's relatively squishy. So now you've teleported the mid lane. You've lost 90 gold. And what have you accomplished? Not that much. Now you're sitting 2 in a lane. You shouldn't even be here anymore. There's no reason for 3 of you guys to be pushing this creep wave at the same time. Now you're sitting back. You got your tome. Cool. He's 6. This is fine. Now you're sitting around your Night Stalker. Is anybody going to be mid? Probably not. I would actually prefer you to get to Frost Shield at this point. Like to start leveling it up personally. Frost Blast is really good. But again, they have so much physical damage. I'd prefer you get more Frost Shield here. See how this gank isn't going to work? You showed all of your heroes on the creep wave. You walked straight at them. And guess what? They are not walking into initiation range. So what happens? You guys just all waste. A lot of you guys wasted like 20 seconds of hero time. Collectively. Because you stood by the creep wave and you push. If you're coming to push this tower, what's going to happen? They're going to see you right here. And they're going to say, hey guys, they're pushing mid. And then all the heroes that are available are going to walk over and say, okay, time to defend. What happens instead if you use a smoke here or something and you wrap around this way? Then they only see Night Stalker. Then maybe TA comes up to the creep wave. And then you go like, boop, 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 initiate, boom. And now you can actually maybe get a kill. But if you keep doing this lazy stuff where you walk to the wave and you just kind of walk at your opponents, then it's not going to happen. And what are you doing? You're sitting here like, I don't know what to do. I guess I might as well deny creeps. You got to stop defaulting to that. Your thought process should be, is somebody already in this creep wave? If so, do I need to be here still? Or are we about to like take a tower or something? If not, you don't need to be here. Let them get their last hits and you go do something else. Stack camps. Go look for kills. The place you guys should be doing this death push crap is bottom. It should be Night Stalker pushing creep wave and then maybe Zeus and you hiding in the side jungle. Maybe you hit this creep wave while Night Stalker's clearing this. That way you don't show. And when the creep waves come under tower, you guys are standing right here. And if the creep waves come here and they meet, as soon as some hero pops out, then you jump out and you fucking kill them. But instead, what you guys are doing is you're just running down a lane saying like, boy, I sure hope they do some dumb shit and walk into me like the Dazzle did the one time. And if they don't do that, you're not going to win games. And that is probably, I don't know if you're struggling to raise your MMR or not, but that's probably why this is happening, if in case you are struggling. Because the players that are dummies are going to run into you sometimes and give you these advantages. But the players that aren't dummies are never going to get punished by you. Ever. Because they're not going to do really dumb stuff like that. They're going to see you coming and they're just going to walk away. And they're like, well, here they come. And then they're going to go back and hit neutral creeps. So because you're never offensive, you're not giving yourself the opportunity to find these kills, you're not doing smoke ganks with your teammates, you're not necessarily playing in the right places on the map, all of these things are preventing you from raising your MMR and from being more effective. And all you need to do is be willing to walk past the creep wave rather than sitting back to deny creeps. You need to walk past the creep wave and force engagements, trade spells, and be in position to swing behind your opponents. Like, imagine your Zeus is here, you should be standing right here. And as soon as this guy starts hitting creeps, you just go, boop, hello, and you start slowing him out of position. And then he's like, oh shit, Zeus is here, and Lich popped out of the jungle, now I'm definitely dead. It's all surprise stuff. That's what should be happening. But the whole reason that they have good net worth on their team is because there has been no pressuring, basically. This guy has actually just been dead sitting in his lane this whole time. And he's a pretty effective hero for limiting what Troll can do. His skill build is pretty... not the biggest fan. But that's why these guys are farmed, basically. Because they won their lane, they pushed the lane out, and now they've been moving around getting kills, and you guys haven't been doing a good job pressuring. You have generally the heroes to do it. Like, having Night Stalker and you and Zeus, you three can definitely deal with TA. But you need to start pressuring them a lot, or the game's going to get really hard. So I know we didn't really focus on like the mid and late game stuff, but the reality is that you probably feel like you're probably not doing anything in mid and late game for the same reasons. It's because you don't know what leads to mid and late game stuff. It's pushing lanes basically, and you didn't do it very well in your Lina game. And it's also really hard to do it on Lich. So that's something that teams need sometimes, is to make sure they have enough heroes that can push lanes. Lich cannot do it very well because Frostblast is like a pseudo AoE. It isn't very good at pushing. But Lina definitely can. If there's a dead lane, you go into it and push. That's kind of what Dazzle is doing too. Dead lane, he goes into it and he pushes. And by dead, I mean nobody's there. It doesn't actually mean the typical definition of that. So what you should be doing instead is moving around trying to get kills. Lich is not the best for that. That's typically why he works better as a 5. Because he's better for... like, he's good at nuking heroes, and he's good at turning fights, and he's good at ganking a little bit of Chain Frost and Sinister Gaze. But it's not like as good as somebody like Lina typically. So that's why Lina functions a bit better as a 4. Works better by herself, can still farm really rapidly, and also participates well in ganks and team fights. Lich is just like not as good at the push stuff, that kind of thing, if that makes sense. So you guys have been outpushed this game. That's why you have literally no tower damage done. And yeah, literally almost no tower damage done, but you've already lost 2 towers. They've done better than you at the early game. If it wasn't for that tower disadvantage, you guys would have a huge advantage right now, most likely. But yeah, you need to play around Zeus, give him some cover, and then make it easier for him for your cores to get kills. So I hope this is helpful. Sorry again for that this is so delayed, but I was busy with moving and stuff. So I hope this is helpful. I hope you learned a lot, and thanks for signing up. I appreciate it. Goodbye.